This is a disgrace. An absolute disgrace. Edward Norton was not in this movie. Instead, they had this guy, Mark Ruffalo. Actually, I didn't actually mind him that much. But anyway, I'm Time Travel Reviews, and here's my review of the Avengers, which came out on Wednesday. I actually went to the opening day of it. Wasn't a midnight release, sadly, but yes, I went to the opening day, and today's Saturday, so it's actually 3 days later. But yeah. So this is the Avengers, and I've been hyping up this movie a bit, as a lot of people probably have, because of the fact that they made 4 movies to prepare for this. If you haven't known already, there's Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, Captain America, and Thor. There you go. They also made Iron Man 2, but you know that's an extra hype movie. But they aren't really essential to go watch this. But I don't really know, to be honest, because I can't remember it that much that if they're really essential to go see these movies rather than watch. They aren't completely essential, because I remember when I saw Iron Man 2, I knew what was going on despite the fact I'd never seen Iron Man 1, so I'm sure it wouldn't be too bad if you'd never seen any of those movies before you see this, but it's something extra to do, I guess. And but yeah, we've obviously been hyping up this movie because it's like a crossover of 4 different superheroes, which is pretty damn awesome. They also have Hawkeye and Black Widow in it as well. Black Widow, I'll just tell you a bit about her character. She was mainly added for, I just did the roofing there. I reckon her character was mainly added for the female audience more than anything. I'll just close this window because I keep looking at myself. She was mainly added for the female audience, I reckon. So I didn't really like her character that much. Hawkeye I liked, so I'm glad he was added. But I understand why they didn't make movies for them, because especially Black Widow, I didn't like her. But yeah, so this was hyped up, and does it disappoint? No, not really. It doesn't disappoint. And is it really meet up to my expectations? No, not really either. Now, let me just say that the action scenes in this movie are really good. The characters in this movie are really good. And if you want to go see this movie to see the characters that you've watched in the last 4 years, then go ahead, go see them. Except, as I said, Mark Ruffalo is in this movie instead of Edward Norton. I really like Edward Norton's Hulk, so I was really disappointed that he didn't get in this movie, and I actually only watched The Incredible Hulk about a week ago. But I really liked Edward Norton's performance as the Hulk. Except I did like Robert Downey Jr. better as Iron Man. He's my favorite one. A lot of people probably think Iron Man's their favorite one too. But I was a bit disappointed. But Mark Ruffalo, he actually does it pretty good. Like the Hulk, you can tell he's trying to do like an Edward Norton impression, so that's kind of funny how he does that. But no, he is pretty good as well. So, but the Hulk looks really good in this movie. Let me just say that. And a lot of these, I've seen a lot of these things, superhero movies before, especially, these ensemble things like an X-Men. That's kind of an ensemble, not really, but like how they have a lot of different characters and they try and make them like equally important in like the quest. And a lot of Saturday morning cartoons also do this too. This one really doesn't try to do that. Iron Man and the Hulk are really the ones that really show they're the most important ones. And it is kind of refreshing how they don't do that. Like they actually they realize that Iron Man, the Hulk, Iron Man, he's bloody badass. Like, he would do the most damage, and they realize that, and they make him the most important. And the Hulk is actually the unexpected one. You don't really expect him to do too much, but he actually, he helps. And I know I really shouldn't spoil it, but it's not really spoiling that much. But it is kind of refreshing, but I do, even though it's refreshing, I do prefer it when they all have their equal kind of powers in it, but I don't care too much. But just something about movies where I like it when all the characters do things equally. So maybe I find it funny how they try and contrive the plot into doing that. So, but that's really a very minor complaint, really. But yeah, the action is really good in this movie. It's really entertaining. And I think it's just because of the fact that you have these 4 superheroes with their own characters and backstories in the one place. There's something just really cool about it. As I said, they tried to give a bit of backstory to Black Widow, and they didn't really give much backstory to Hawkeye. But the parts where they were, I know this sounds like something like a typical teenage person would say, and mind you, I usually don't share this view. But when the bits when they talked, I didn't care. I didn't care when they were talking. I didn't care what they were talking about. I didn't care about their feelings. I didn't care about their backstory. Like, I mean, I liked it when they were making quippy remarks to each other, because, you know, that's funny and that's good. But when they tried to be, like, emotional and tried to, you know, say, we give up, you know, we can't do it, you know, it sucks, and, you know, people saying, oh, you know, this reminds me of when my father died. Like, nobody says that, but when they have that kind of stuff, I didn't care. All I wanted here was good guys versus bad guys, my favorite superheroes, action. You can have some slow moments, but mainly try and get it as fast paced as possible and remove all the talky-walky scenes, because I know that as I said, I like movies where, you know, it's just talking, and I'm not a big action junkie, but this was the kind of movie where all I wanted to see was action. So that's a bit of a disappointment, and I think that they should have realized that. I mean, the backstories before the 4 movies. This movie is not for backstory. This movie is for action. This movie is for good versus evil. That's all it's for. And to introduce like backstories about like the Black Widow, I didn't care. Like, make a movie for the Black Widow if you want to do this. It might not be as, you know, popular, but if you want to add backstory, make a movie for the Black Widow. And sorry, okay, this is another minor complaint again, but it did kind of annoy me. Another thing was that the character of the Hulk, he kind of didn't really. These are all nitpicks, by the way. He kind of wasn't very consistent, the character of the Hulk, because halfway through the movie, the Hulk, he turns, and I shouldn't really be spoiling it this much, but, you know, he turns into the Hulk, and he goes on a rampage, absolutely mindless rampage, doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and at the end of the movie, when he turns into the Hulk again, he goes on, he knows exactly what he's doing, he's complete control, he knows absolutely what he's doing. Why is it so inconsistent? I mean, I don't get. I honestly don't get it. How is this inconsistent? There wasn't really like a thing which showed that he was now in control of the Hulk. He just went from complete out of control to complete control, and that was it. So that kind of disappointed me. Also the climax. There's a lot of things in it that don't make sense. I'm not going to really explain it, but there are a lot of things that don't make sense. For one, the army doesn't get involved. That's a big thing. They get involved with one thing, but it's the kind of thing where you think that they would have already done already, and they're not very smart. That's all I would say. The army are not very smart. If you just want to see your superheroes fighting bad guys, then you got it. But they didn't give a good enough reason why the army couldn't get involved. Yeah, I don't know if there is an army in this universe. I presume that there is. I can't really. No, there is. There definitely is an army in this universe. So, yeah. I also found something really obvious to be in the movie, and that was character fights. You know, Iron Man, you know, gets angry at Captain America. Captain America gets angry at Iron Man over something. You know, they all fight. They all, you know, have issues with each other. I knew this was going to happen. It was so predictable, and they could have made it really funny if they did it right, but instead they just kind of took it really seriously. And in my opinion, it wasn't that great. Like, the way that they made the characters fight. It was predictable. I knew who was going to fight with who. Like, and earlier on, there's like a fight scene between one of the good guys and another one of the good guys. And while this is kind of entertaining to watch, I really didn't care, because I knew in the end these guys are going to be together and they're going to work something out. I knew that. I knew who would break up the fight too. So that was kind of disappointing as well. Like, how they added that kind of filler kind of thing. This movie, I mean, this movie didn't really feel too much like 2 hours and a half. I think it was something like that. But they definitely could have cut a bit out. I mean, it didn't feel too long, like something like Avatar did. But it definitely did feel like there was like bits that they could have cut out of this movie to make it better. Also, the antagonists, I wasn't too excited about them, if you would say. Aliens, yeah, no, they're intimidating, but, you know, can you make something better? The aliens were just kind of boring. I mean, they were 10 times more exciting than bloody Battleship, but they were still pretty boring. So those are the only issues I have with this movie. Otherwise, great movie, very entertaining. Battleship was loud and dull. This movie, you know, it has comic moments. It has all superheroes doing all different things, very creative things, very creative. Like every character has its own character, personality. So it's a lot of fun. That's all I can say. I mean, it does have its issues, but it is a lot of fun, and that's, I think, what most people, when they're going to see this movie, want to see. But in terms of really meeting my expectations that this is going to be a really action-packed and have this like very creative antagonist and really use like the characters like extremely well, because they are used pretty damn well, but they weren't. My expectations of this, it didn't really meet it. So, but you know, it was very, very high expectations. As I said, I hyped up this movie a lot. So I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10, and it is one of the better movies that I've seen this year. Probably my third favorite so far after Chronicle and the Hunger Games, but I definitely do recommend it. So thanks for watching, everyone. Goodbye.